Hello, everyone. Good evening. Welcome. My name is Tatiana Carnevale. I directed the reading. I'll come stand over here so that I'm not like over by this pillar. I directed the reading that we are about to share this evening. And on behalf of Sarasvati Productions, I would like to welcome you all to this reading of the shorts and to FemFest. If you are joining us here at the Dalnavert, here in Winnipeg, you are watching this reading on Treaty 1 territory, which is the ancestral and current homeland of the Anishinaabe, Cree, Oji-Cree, Dakota, and Dene people, and the homeland of the Métis Nation. If you are joining us from elsewhere, we do encourage you to take some time to reflect on where you are and the histories of that place. Tonight, in particular, we are at the Dalnavert Museum in downtown Winnipeg, and this home, built in 1895, is an example of Queen Anne revival architecture. It's also an artifact of colonial history and a reminder of the harms inflicted on Indigenous people, which continue to this day. This house did belong at one time to Hugh John MacDonald, who is a son of John A. MacDonald, and it is important to note and remember that John A. MacDonald did perpetrate genocide against the Métis and other Indigenous nations on the land where we are now gathered. On behalf of Sarasvati, we would like to thank the staff of Dalnavert for acknowledging this history and allowing us as artists to join as a community here today. Wherever you are joining us from, as I said, please take some time to reflect on your relationship to the land, the effects of colonization, and to actively work in the spirit of reconciliation. With that being said, I did take some time to do my own reflecting as I was thinking about how I wanted to introduce everything this evening. And I did find a quote that I like to share with you, which is from an artist named Dibby Young. And she says, "I believe we are all storytellers. We negotiate the world through the stories we tell and the stories we are told. I believe that we are accountable and responsible for the stories we tell and the stories we believe. It is through this continuous cycle of storytelling that I find my happiness, peace, and liberation. I trust storytelling can do the same for you and all of us." Obviously, storytelling has a long, long, long history before all of us were even here, tens of thousands of years on this very land. And I think about that, I feel very grateful that, especially in this time, which is unprecedented, as we've heard millions and millions of times now, that we are able to gather and to continue this tradition of storytelling this evening. So the stories that we are going to share with you this evening here at the Dalnavert and over the internet, we have 4 pieces that we've prepared for you. And the series is called The Shorts. And basically, these are pieces that were submitted to FemFest, which were not chosen to be programmed as full pieces in the festival, but were really made a mark on the curation team. And so we wanted to share them with you in kind of a reduced capacity. Maybe at some point you'll see them down the line in a full production at FemFest or at some other theater. But we have a really exciting lineup for you this evening. And I will just quickly, before we see these excerpts, introduce the actors who will be reading them this evening. Starting farthest away from me there is Anika Dowsett. Next to Anika is Kristian Cahatol. Next to Kristian is Hazel Wallace. And last but not least, we have Matthew Paris-Irvine. As I said, I'm Tatiana Carnevale. I directed the shorts. And the pieces that we are going to perform for you, and this is all listed in your program and online with more information about these fine folks and about the playwrights as well, if you would like to check that out. We are going to begin with When She Was Good by Meredith Taylor-Parry. After that, we will hear What Happens After by Sarah Flynn. And after that, we will hear a monologue called The Mainlander by Vicki, Zhang. And after that, I'll come up and introduce the last piece. But for now, I'm going to put this back and turn it over to these wonderful actors. Please enjoy.
Christine sits at a table, listening to music and playing solitaire with a deck of cards. Christine is odd, very different from the first scene where she appeared quite ordinary. She's a stereotype of a creepy fortune teller. Think Angelic Houston as Morticia Adams. Frightening. We hear a knock at the door. She gets up and ushers Samantha in.
Come on in.
Hi.
I'm so happy you called.
Thanks for inviting me. You have no idea how good it is to get out of the house.
This your first one?
Yes.
Thought so. Bet you could use a drink.
Only if you're having something.
It depends on how the night goes. I like to wait and see.
That sounds promising.
I never make any promises. Try not to anyway. Have a seat.
Kristian lights the candles.
Do you have kids?
One. He's all grown up now. Time flies. These are the best years, so make sure you enjoy them.
That's what everyone says.
So, you just moved here?
We did. For Rich's new job.
You're married.
5 years.
What does he do?
Advertising. It's a promotion. I decided to stay home with the baby.
What do you do?
I used to be in theater. Sort of. I write a little.
Cool. Fiction? Non-fiction?
Plays.
Oh, that's nice.
Anyway, with the move and the baby, I decided just to stay home. We love the neighborhood.
That's a lot on your plate.
Yeah, well, it's okay. We love the neighborhood. So, how does this work?
Are you nervous?
A little.
Well, first we have to make the sacrificial offering. I'm kidding, bad joke. Look, these things are usually a lot more boring than you would think. You would imagine if someone was going to come all the way from the other side to say their piece, that they'd have something important to say. Usually they just talk about what they see you doing in your life. They tell you things you already know, like they mention you went on vacation, or tell you that the rose bush in your yard looks nice.
Why make the effort then?
Maybe to remember. Maybe they miss being alive.
Do you ever get bad news?
Not usually. Did I mention my fee? I think I forgot.
Oh,
Sorry.
That's okay. What do you...
75. The first session is always discounted. Just for new clients.
I didn't bring cash.
I have a machine.
I don't even have my purse.
That's okay. You can pay me next time. But now, let's just take a minute. Close your eyes. Breathe in and breathe it all out. Feel the chair supporting your weight and the floor supporting your feet. Let Mother Earth hold you. Hello.
Hello yourself.
Hello?
You already said that.
You are welcome in our space.
Thank you.
Good.
Is it really happening?
We have gathered here.
Good lord.
We have gathered here today.
It's not my funeral, lady.
Is she speaking to you?
What is your name?
Mary.
What is she saying?
Okay, Mary. Welcome.
Did you say Mary?
Do you know someone named Mary who passed?
Do I know her?
Think hard. This isn't the time to hold back.
There
There must be a connection. There always is.
I'd like to talk to her in private without your meddling.
I'm just a conduit.
You're a crook.
Excuse me.
I am really freaking out right now.
Don't you remember scamming all those nice people?
I used to read tarot.
You made it up.
It isn't an exact science. Sometimes you have to improvise.
What's happening?
Bullshit. You took their money.
Look, sometimes people need someone to just listen and help them figure things out. Who are you?
None of your business.
Mary. Thank you for coming. Is there something we can do for you?
You guys summoned me. What does she want?
What do you want me to ask her? Samantha.
Me?
She wants to know if you have anything to say to her.
I don't know.
Why did she want to talk to me?
Okay, one at a time. Samantha, why did you come here tonight?
I was curious.
That is a load of shit and she knows it.
Interesting. So Mary thinks you may have had other reasons.
She has a question for me.
Do you have a question for Mary?
Tell her I see her talking to herself.
She saw you talking to yourself.
I know all her secrets.
She says she knows all your secrets.
Mary blows out the candles. She exits. Samantha stands up abruptly, knocking her chair to the floor. Christine climbs under the table. Harry screams.
Mary? Are you there, Mary? I think she left.
What the hell was that?
Calm down.
Is this some kind of joke?
Really? We just had a supernatural experience. It can be overwhelming. Just breathe. You're okay. We're okay.
I don't know if I believe you.
Come on, I'm not that good an actor. Did you see the candles, for Christ's sake?
Yeah.
Oh, my hands are shaking. I need a drink. You?
Yes.
Have you seen Jess recently?
Yeah, I see her around sometimes. She still works at that coffee shop on the corner that I study at.
And?
Well, I just don't walk up to her and go, "Hey, Jess, do you miss my brother? I know he hurt you and broke your heart, but he's wondering if you're all chill with it by now." Dumbass.
Yeah, obviously. Yeah, don't say that. But does she seem okay?
I don't know, Liam. I know it's been really hard for her. She's been reading a lot of poetry and posting it as her captions on Instagram. It was some pretty heavy shit. Like, really, really depressing stuff.
Sure.
That girl was ready to marry you. I know you're only like 18 and hadn't even finished high school, but she seemed to know.
We were in love.
This seemed like more. She wasn't just in love with her high school sweetheart. She was in it for the long haul. You were it for her. She was so fucking okay with only ever having sex with you for the rest of her life.
She said that?
Liam, Jess was ready to have your babies, raise them, watch them grow up, and then get old and decrepit and die with you by her side at the ripe old age of 96. She probably has a massive Pinterest wedding board.
You make it sound like everything was perfect.
It was for her.
Except for the whole me being the other half of the relationship thing. I messed it all up. Good old Liam. Can always count on him to fuck everyone's life up.
Liam, it's not your fault. I was trying to make a joke. Obviously, it was a bad one.
It is all my fault.
Oh my god.
I feel like such a bad guy.
God, you're impossible. I think she posted a cute selfie last week with a sweet caption about the future and stuff, so that's probably a good sign.
Yeah, sure. What'd it say?
I have what I have, and I'm happy I've lost what I've lost. And I'm still happy. I don't know, something dumb like that.
I have what I have, and I am happy. I've lost what I've lost, and I am still happy. What does that even mean? No. What am I going? I don't know what to do with this information. How do I fix this? Anna, what do I do?
Why are you always so fucking negative all the time? God, it's like everything is the end of the freaking world with you.
Whatever, drama queen.
You can be a real selfish twat, you know that?
Oh, fuck off.
Oh, you really have a special ability to ruin everything.
Everything.
Yeah, everything. Everything that's good, at least.
Now who's being selfish?
Still you, fuck. You don't even get it, do you?
Get what?
If you hadn't fucking left us with nothing, none of this would be happening. It's all your damn fault. You never even think of anyone else. Ever. It's just Liam all the fucking time. You know what? Fuck you, you fucking asshole. I fucking hate you, Liam. I hate you. You fucking fuck. How could you? Why do you have to be so fucking stupid? Fuck. You hurt everyone around you. Fuck.
Hey, it's gonna be okay. Okay? It'll be okay.
Did you even stop to think about what this would do to us?
Of course I did.
How much it would crush everyone who loves you.
I know.
I can't breathe. It feels like someone is sitting on my lungs.
Yeah.
Mom still can't go in the basement. We had to move the washing machine upstairs to the back room.
I'm sorry.
Everyone at school talks to me in a quiet, whispery voice full of pity, like they think they'll break me if they look at me too long.
I'm sorry.
And Jess.
Please.
Yeah, no one wants to be known as the girlfriend of the kid who.
Killed himself? Anna. Listen to me. I'm sorry.
Doesn't bring you back.
No. Nothing will.
It's just so fucking hard all the time.
I think you are doing a beautiful job of figuring out some heavy shit.
Before reading these words, I would first like to acknowledge that because of circumstance, I am replacing the original reader of this piece. As I step into these shoes, I recognize that this piece deals with a history, culture, and issues in which I have limited knowledge, for I do not come from Chinese ancestry. But we wish to honor the words and voice of the Chinese-Canadian playwright. Thank you. These are the words I should have said. If I had more than 5 seconds of your time, these are the words I would have said. Yes, I've watched the segment, shielding my eyes, trembling and excited and ashamed. An image, a voice, a sentiment immortalized. Not the way I wanted, but it fit your narrative, so that was all it mattered. It's not your job to provide counseling or consider the possibility of remorse and PTSD on the part of your interviewees, randomly picked out from a crowd of yellow-skinned aliens who no doubt all look the same to you. Your job is to get the footage and a few sound bites as quickly as possible and move on to the next little conflict, next potential clickbait. But I'm writing to you anyway, pretending that in the quiet of the night, you might just give this a read. Not with your eyes, but with your heart, feeling the pulse of another human being. Yes, as you identified, I'm a Mainlander. No, that wouldn't have been my self-identification. If you ask me, I'm a daughter, a wife, a mother, an immigrant, a mathematician, a knitter, a crossing guard, a serial lover, and a pickle hater. I can provide you with a list upon request, but you won't request it. For all intents and purposes, I am simply a Mainlander. Hence, by default, a sympathizer, an apologist, a co-conspirator, an anti-democracy, anti-freedom warrior, a person with questionable moral compass, or, at best, a naif, a brainwashed simpleton, someone who should be overridden by the brush of history. As if I haven't been behaving myself, learning the right ways, erasing old memories, reprogramming, reboot, as if I haven't gone on the marches, women's unions, climate change, as if I haven't wept at the dissidents' funerals, fearing for the safety of those who continue to fight back home. As if I'm not the one who has to live with the ghosts and the living dead for the 37 years of my life. A grandfather abandoned and left to die in his prime, behind the high bars erected by his revolutionary comrades. A grandmother, once graceful and tender with a golden voice, succumbed to hysteria when widowhood descended on her like the black locusts in her childhood village. A father, head full of ideas, wrote and burned his own manuscripts over and over until he'd never write again. As if I'm not the one who has to live in self-exile, pushed out of a warm cocoon, a close-knit tribe, a culture, and a language that held the most intimate memory of a past identity, a birth identity. The ghosts pushed me through the hands of the living dead. Go, see what's out there. If you're lucky, you may just find that dignity that's eluded all of us. Go, be a learned person. No one can take away what's in your head. Go, study mathematics. Go into finance. Perhaps money and prestige will shield you from the suspicions brought upon by your skin color and nationality. You can tell they were trying, but they were running out of ideas. As if I haven't been refusing to speak, even think in my mother tongue. As if I haven't lived like a fugitive in my own body, practicing and drilling and eliminating all traces of an accent. In multiculturalism class, they said a culture is fluid, shifting and pivoting and pulsing, defying essentialization. They said, be who you are, love your own skin. Canada welcomes all. In social psychology, they showed us the pyramid of identity. Without a collective identity, they said, a person has no template to articulate a personal identity, let alone self-esteem. In critical theory class, they said colonial mentality eats away your dignity, a sense of personal worth. They said all over the global south, people were organizing, salvaging their heritage, their nationhood providing a fragile yet essential shield against westernization. Then, in Chinese politics class, the old white male professor struggled to piece together a cogent narrative about a country that was full of contradictions. A country that lifted billions of people out of poverty. A country that targets its own flesh and blood, quashing those who demand more freedom and rights. A country that still brands itself communist. A country's powerful state capitalism and years of freewheeling and dealing has helicoptered some to the top of the world and sent others down the chute. A country whose name conjures up a party and an autocrat, but also a land, a people, a culture, foods, sounds, and smells that, like Proust's Madeline, could instantly erect the entire world of a bygone childhood in front of my eyes, a pang of nostalgia coursing through and dilating my veins. The problem, you see, is that you can't disentangle all the layers that name conjures up. You don't need to be a sympathizer, an apologist, a co-conspirator, to feel the warm feelings about a land and a people you've left behind. You don't need to be naive and brainwashed to feel the urge to celebrate on a national day. One of the days an immigrant like me, straddling between cultures, can immerse under my own skin and feel the heartbeat of a birth identity that's long been tucked away. You can love and fight for freedom and democracy while still craving the need to look into your fellow compatriots' eyes and wish them an uncomplicated happy holiday. The problem, you see, is that you regard every one of us as a representative of a country, or worse, a party and an autocrat. But I refuse. The ghosts I've lived with my entire life refuse. Please treat us as the private citizens that we are, not some sample data points in your fledgling thesis. Sure, you may say no one's objecting to your celebrations as private citizens. Now who's the naive one? Months of media onslaught, brain-dead mainlanders versus heroic Hong Kongers. In the mythologies you've woven, I'm a villain by association. Every one of us with that birth identity is by default a villain. Unless we draw the line, we distance and disengage, we purge, cleanse, and denounce our backwater culture in its entirety. Unless we avoid our own. One's frightening enough, let alone a pack. The mayor of our great city, whom I helped to elect, sat out on a small flag-raising ceremony. The tiny token event to mark that day. The two unwitting city councilors who attended, immediately subjected to condemnation. Yes, in the black and white mythologies you've woven, I'm a villain by association. Which leads me back to that brief encounter between you and me. On my left, an ocean of blazing red. Right, a deep black sea that swallowed all light. Caught in between and caught off guard, I was ready to flee. But it was the national day after all. Coward as I was, the urge to belong somewhere was overwhelming. I wanted to embrace the red and the black. Each soul should have been fellow tribesmen. Give their cause a listen, I imagine saying to the red. We are all fighting the same ideals. Turning to the black, respect their rights to mark the day, to celebrate the birth identity as normal human beings. Don't fight the wrong enemy. I pivoted to the left. Communist pig, someone shouting. I pivoted to the right. Don't be a traitor. A stern voice hurting my ears. Then I saw the Union Jack carving into the sky. I felt an ancient primordial heat rising in my blood. I turned around to take a big gulp of air, only to have a large mic shoved in my face. Your blue eyes sparkled with anticipation. A loud expletive leapt out of me like a lightning strike. I can't wrap my head around this. It must have sounded like a wail. And that was it. You had moved on, leaving me with my 5 seconds of infamy. Over the phone, I tried to recount the scene to my father. I fumbled for the right words in Chinese. My tongue tripled and tumbled until he cut me off mid-sentence. I have no sympathy for them. They hurt my national feelings. His raspy voice scraped my insides. I could see the blank look on his face. The aged man who had wasted his writerly talents and waited in vain for the tides to shift. I knew very well the they he was referring to, the youthful activists he himself once was. As for me, rest assured, I can only articulate those thoughts and feelings in your mother tongue, the colonizer's language. I hope I've proven my unwavering loyalty. Sincerely, the Mainlander. Toronto, Canada, October 2nd, 2019.
Hello again. We cast this piece in early summer, and one of our actors had to drop out last week, and so Kristian just joined our cast on Sunday, and she's done an amazing job, so way to go. Before we move on to our last piece, I just want to say thank you so much to all of you for coming this evening. Thanks to all the actors for your amazing work. Thanks to the whole staff at FemFest and here at Dalnavert. Everyone's put in a lot of effort in this unprecedented time, and it's been so amazing to see that we are still able to come together and make things happen here in person, online. People have gotten really creative and really done an amazing job. So it's been really nice. Our last piece to close out this evening is by Jonathan Mourant. It's part of a larger work in progress called Actualize, and it is probably the closest thing we will get to a Marvel movie this year. So please enjoy, and thank you again so much for coming. Check out everything else that's at FemFest. Be safe. Have a great evening. We'll see you next year.
Boom, lights, music, applause, camera, action. Norris sits at a comfortable talk show desk, coffee mug, silly character-based ornaments that show that she doesn't take her job too seriously.
And welcome back to the show. Thank you to our sponsors for paying for my silence against their many human rights violations. Our guest tonight is a real gem. You may know him for his multi-billion-dollar tech empire, his many appearances in Playgirl magazine, all of which he himself commissioned and paid for, or, most likely, the 19 times he saved the world from an egomaniac villain of his own creation. It's Iron Man.
Iron Man enters in his full costume. He stomps out, weighing hundreds of pounds.
Hello, America!
Lights shoots from his hands. Nora ducks.
Heyo!
Flies over audience.
Nora, play some music.
No,
AC/DC plays from somewhere.
Ever seen anything like this?
we actually don't have any insurance taken out.
Iron Man shoots rockets from his wrist. They loop and circle over the audience, then explode into fireworks, reading Iron Man.
Not very creative.
What's my name?
Iron Man!
Don't encourage him.
Iron Man flies another victory lap, crashes through the ceiling.
Jesus.
Please, call me Iron Man.
We can't afford to fix that.
Iron Man hovers in the air.
Don't worry, it's on me.
Oh, in that case, I think you broke the sink in the break room earlier.
Iron Man flies back and lands. It's epic. Music stops.
How's that for an entrance?
Poorly scaled. Please, have a seat. Please.
Iron Man flops into the interview chair. His mask pulls back, exposing a face you would easily assume to be human.
I have never been more stressed out.
Don't get your panties in a knot. Do you wear panties?
I don't have to. Mr. Stark.
Please, Mr. Stark is my father.
I'm not going to call you Iron
You
Man.
can call me whatever I want.
Tony,
later.
then?
I haven't even bought you a drink yet.
Thanks for joining us tonight, Mr. Stark. This is your first time on the show, isn't it?
You know how it is. Leave her wanting more.
Her?
America.
You must be pretty busy saving the world and all that.
No, please. The citizens. Those are the real superheroes.
Come on.
I'm just doing my job, you know? America made it possible for me to turn my humble beginnings as the lowly son of a millionaire into someone who meant something. A billionaire. If I'm not using that money, or at very least a very small percentage of it, to protect the people that live near my property from Russia or whoever it is these days, then am I even an entrepreneur?
You certainly had me fooled.
I don't buy that for a second.
You couldn't afford to.
I don't hear that often.
You would if you listened.
You want to see some of my new inventions?
Traitors.
Iron Man stands, pulls out what seems to be a missile launcher.
I call this the dick metaphor.
Nope, no more weapons.
Are you serious?
You signed a contract.
All the other networks let me show off whatever I want.
You own all the other networks.
And people watch all the other networks.
Pause. Iron Man puts it away.
Fine. I have a couple boring ones that I haven't talked much about.
Somehow I doubt that.
This is a patented Stark Tech surfboard.
Surfboard?
Surfboard. It uses the same technology as my super suit Mac 80 to remain perfectly level at all times.
You're saying you invented that?
Yeah, of course I did. Who else would be able to make a surfboard that surfs for you?
Well, there is the surfer guy whose whole thing is surfing in space.
That's totally different.
It doesn't really feel very different.
Please, I don't need to steal ideas. Now, just because it works the same.
Does it work in space?
Yeah, of course it works in space.
So it's the Silver Surfer's surfboard and you stole it.
He is an interdimensional celestial being. He doesn't care about patents.
Did you ask?
Did I ask the Silver Surfer if he cares about patents?
Before you stole his idea.
You said you'd go easy on me.
You make it very challenging. Any other inventions?
You mean aside from the obvious?
Let's talk about batteries, huh?
Right. That makes for great TV.
You recently announced a new lithium-ion battery will replace the battery fitted in every Stark Tech electronic car.
That's right. Lithium is a naturally occurring natural resource.
Found in Bolivia.
Could be.
It is. I checked.
Well, this new battery can hold a charge of up to 120 hours of continuous driving, which is 69%.
Nice.
Better performance than the next best electric car on the market, which is also our car.
So that much lithium must be hard to come by.
Any resource is finite, even if it occurs naturally.
Where did you find it?
Excuse me?
Where did you get your lithium?
Well, I'm not directly involved in the sourcing of.
No, your non-union workers do that, but they must tell you where it's from.
They do.
So where do you get your stash?
Could we move on to the next invention?
Because Bolivia recently underwent a pretty nasty coup, and their state-operated lithium refinery, which accounted for a large portion of the country's economy, not to mention thousands of jobs, has been defunded and stripped of its lithium.
I did hear about that.
Before the people of Bolivia did, probably.
Nora, you seem to think that you're some sort of hard-hitting journalist all of a sudden.
Do you feel like you got hit hard? I'm just asking where you got your lithium.
Where'd you get yours?
Mine?
Your lithium battery heart. Where do you think that came from?
Well, I've got some ideas.
Yeah, I would say so. Maybe you should remind yourself of where you came from before you start accusing me of anything. You might not be so upset about a few Bolivian farmers.
Farmers. They worked in a refinery.
You wouldn't even be alive without me.
Technically speaking, I'm not alive.
You want to give your heart back to Bolivia? You'd rather halt progress and stay exactly where we are so a few hundred South Americans can work in a factory their whole lives?
I didn't ask you to build me.
Nobody asks me to do anything. And here I am anyway, making sacrifice after sacrifice for the sake of humanity. And what do I get? What thanks do I get for being the only one keeping the human race going?
Where are we going, Tony?
Forward. I'm done here.
Tony stands, fire shoots from his hands and feet, and he flies upward through the ceiling.
Up isn't the same as forward. We'll be right back.